When Battlefield 2042 was announced, people flocked to Battlefield 4, and with a Battlefield set in the near future on its way, it felt only natural. Plus, from the look of the trailers, 2042 seemed to give you the same creative freedom when it came to physics, like when they showed off the Rondazook. So obviously people were, and still are, pumped about this new and improved Battlefield that pays tribute to Battlefield 4 and giving the players back their C4 ATV launches. We play Battlefield 4 on the stream every day, which you should come by and say hello, by the way. But is it a mistake to play Battlefield 4 when the mechanics of shooters have come a long way since 2013? Let's dive in a little bit. Battlefield 4 is a lot of fun, obviously, and it excels on giving you those only in Battlefield moments. But let's examine a couple of things about the game, starting with the movement. So there's no slide jumping in Battlefield 4, but there is jumping. Jumping in Battlefield 4 at times is even worse to deal with than slide canceling in Warzone. If the player knows how to make those perfect turns, aka just spazzing out and spamming spacebar, they're untouchable. On top of that, whenever you were in the air, you could change direction, allowing a Gmod type of movement. Gravity, momentum, and physics didn't seem to exist when you were on foot. Since that time, Battlefield has done away with this erratic movement in hopes for a more realistic movement. In Battlefield 1, the movement became more realistic. If you spammed spacebar, your movement would suffer greatly, causing you to be stranded in the middle of the open with fatigue. However, they did offer a new way of dodging into cover, and that was the slide. It was very subtle, wasn't crazy. While sprinting, you just tap the crouch button, give a little slide going from standing upright to crouch while kind of giving that ducking motion into the slide. This was a welcome feature for me, but others didn't really like it, and I think the reception was overall positive. Then you fast forward to Battlefield 5, where the slide is significantly changed for a faster FPS kind of world. The motion still had its limits, but you were able to scoot around with ease, and I think most people, especially fans of Battlefield 4, did not like it. So let me know in the comments if that was you or not. Did you like the slide, or did you absolutely hate it? So when it comes to Battlefield 2042 and what leaked gameplay I've seen, the slide has returned, and so has the jump. However, there are limits on these movements. In fact, the jump never really went away. You could still jump in Battlefield 1, just not as much and not as often. Same thing with Battlefield 5. There was the ability to jump and the ability to slide. And I think that in this iteration of Battlefield, it's going to be the same story. You can still jump, you can still slide. Maybe it'll be a little faster, but I don't think they're going to make it so that the slide and jump is going to be broken. The issues have been addressed by the developers on Twitter, saying that they are aware of the slide spamming in Battlefield 5, and they'll be addressing it for 2042. The same team, in fact, who worked on Battlefield 5's movement are in charge of 2042's movement. They're aware that the sliding was a little outrageous. I think that they put a lot of emphasis on the movement and to make it better and easier for players to avoid things like slide spamming. Is that the actual case? I don't know, but when it comes to movement and preparation for 2042, I would suggest playing Battlefield 5, simply because it's the latest in the series. The same team is working on the movement. Doesn't mean that the movement will be the same, but there will be a similarity, since overall the movement was actually pretty good. Aside from the crazy sliding, it was not too terrible. It was realistic, and I think that they did pretty okay with it. It's just the sliding was the biggest issue. Aside from that, it wasn't that bad. But let's move on to gunplay. Now, real quick fun fact about gunplay. In Battlefield, there's a mechanic that has been around since Battlefield 3. This mechanic makes it difficult to be accurate when going from hipfire to ADS. There's a delay before the weapon has accuracy in ADS, and this is something that does not exist in Call of Duty. From the leaks that I've seen, the accuracy, the recoil, and the ADS speed doesn't resemble Call of Duty, but it does look very responsive compared to any of its predecessors, which is a great thing. I don't think that this mechanic was in Battlefield 5 per se, or maybe even Battlefield 1, but I know for a fact it was in Battlefield 3 and 4, and it caused a lot of problems when people thought that they were on target and it just wasn't working for them. It's 2021. 2013 was many years ago, and you're going to hear me say that a lot. I'm not a huge fan of Battlefield 5, but I think that there are some things that they do well, one of which being the gunplay, sniping especially. The attachments were not good. The whole weapon customization, in my opinion, wasn't very good, but the way the weapons felt when you fired them, how they reacted, did feel good. Does that mean you should play Battlefield 5 to get good at 2042? Maybe. Battlefield 1 also had pretty good mechanics, so either 1 or 5 could work. If I were to choose, I personally would have picked 1 just because I like it better. What I would not choose is is Battlefield 4. The gunplay in Battlefield 4 is fine once you get used to it. However, there are two key things that make it a disadvantage when training your trigger finger, and the first is bullet velocity. Let's take sniping for example. Sniping in Battlefield 4 is pretty awesome, and I love popping heads on Zavad when I'm in there, but with the modern FPS shooters like Battlefield 5, the velocity of the rounds have greatly increased, and I think for the better. It took me so long to get used to the way Battlefield 4 handled its velocity that I was starting to think that I had a major problem. I was just terrible. When in fact, you just have to remember that's from 2013. That's just how it was. You know, the velocity, it was more realistic in a sense. It had bullet drop that was significant. The lead had to be significant because of the velocity. That's why you have to lead so much more in Battlefield 4 than in Battlefield 1 or 5. If you look at the L115 from Battlefield 4 and compare it to the Gewehr 98 from Battlefield 1, the difference is crazy. The velocity on the Gewehr is way higher. Something that I found pretty cool is one of the options that you can change in Battlefield Portal is bullet velocity. So if you're into that old school Battlefield 4 style, then you can tweak the settings and enjoy. I think that's pretty neat. The second issue for me is bloom. Bloom is a punish mechanic for firing your weapon too quickly, and anything more than a few taps from an LMG at range and you're brutally punished. You can't hit anything. Now if you had a bipod, you were in the clear, and that's fine. Like, I understand that. In Battlefield 5 you couldn't even stand up an ADS with some of them because they were going for that realism effect. This was just to point out bloom in general. Same thing happens with assault rifles or submachine guns. The bloom is very punishing at range when it comes to mid to close range weapons, which isn't necessarily a problem, but nowadays you should be able to get more out of your weapons. And once again, in the leaked footage that I've seen, there doesn't seem to be a problem with bloom when it comes to ADSing with an assault rifle. Now you're talking extreme distances, yeah, that it's going to be an issue obviously, but you're going to get more out of your weapons this time around. So it's probably going to be best if you stick to something more modern like Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 1. I seriously doubt we're going to be seeing Warzone levels of assault rifle range, but it's still good practice to have a more modern approach to firing the weapons. So to reiterate, for gunplay and weapon performance, I would say either Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 1. Now moving on to vehicles, and I think you already know the answer to this one. Battlefield 4 would actually be my choice for this for obvious reasons. The last couple of Battlefields took place in both World Wars, long before the dreaded attack chopper plagued the skies. From how the vehicles look in the leaked footage that's been all over YouTube, we can see that the vehicles look like they handle about the same. They're going to be faster, they're going to be more responsive, and the skill ceiling in Battlefield 4 for vehicles was very high, and it gradually became more casual. You know, I think they're going to go back to that high skill ceiling, and which is going to be great because it's going to make dogfights with jets crazy. I'm not a good jet pilot, but I love seeing that kind of stuff. So we covered movement, gunplay, and vehicles. So what Battlefield are you playing to prepare for 2042? Let me know in the comments, and let me know what I got wrong. What would you suggest people play in preparation? Be sure to come by the stream tonight. We're going to be playing some Battlefield 1 and would love to see you there. So leave a like on this video if you liked it, and if not, leave a dislike. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.